So when I was a kid, my parents decided they wanted to raise us in the country. So they moved our family from beautiful, lush, green, some might even say tropical, Brooklyn, New York, to a town by the name of Poughkeepsie. Now, if the name didn't already give it away, it should be pretty apparent there's absolutely nothing going on in Poughkeepsie, New York. So in order to keep me occupied during the summers, my parents sent me to a variety of different camps. My favorite was swim camp for 2 reasons. One, it stopped me from being the only little black girl at the side of the pool at the pool parties. Huge stereotype in the 90s. And number 2, I actually genuinely loved the process of learning to swim. I loved learning to dive, I loved doing the backstroke and the butterfly stroke, but what I couldn't stand was treading water. See, what frustrated me with treading water is it requires an incredible amount of exertion and constant motion for very little forward movement. See, when you're treading water, you're basically just staying afloat. You can start treading water and for an endless amount of time and end up in the exact same position where you started. Now, college, I want to raise this point to you today. I think that when it comes to the outworking of our faith, a lot of us have found ourselves in seasons, even very recently, where we're essentially just treading water. And in fact, it reminds me a lot of the situation of the Israelites in Joshua chapter 5. Let's look at the first part of verse 6. It says this: "For the Israelites walked 40 years in the wilderness until all the nation died because they did not listen to the voice of the Lord." 40 years. Can you imagine treading water for 40 years? I can't. But I think we need to acknowledge there's a huge difference between just moving and moving forward. You can be moving and still not be advancing. So college, in order for us to step into all that God has for us as collectively in this next semester, I believe there's 3 things we need to keep in mind. Number 1, you need to know your convictions. You need to know that you know that you know beyond the shadow of a doubt that the dream that God's placed inside of you, the desires he's placed in your heart are worth pursuing, even if nobody around you gets it. They don't have to get it. Number 2, you've got to count the cost. See, when you're going to advance, you also have to expand. And that often requires us to let go of things that we might have held to really tightly. They might even be good things. It's not necessarily sin or things that would hold you back. They're just not serving the call of God in this season of your life. Let it go. And number 3, you've got to remember your constant. See, not only did the Israelites lose sight of where they were going, but they forgot who went before them. They forgot that the God of angel armies stood before them. So college this semester, let's be a group of people that know our convictions, that count the cost and are willing to pay it, and to remember that we've got God on our side and his unfailing presence goes before us. Amen.